The main floor plan is probably the most recognizable drawing in this set. Students can clearly see the perimeter of the house as drawn with the darker hatched lines. Included here we can see the garage off to the right, the driveway below that, and the connecting sidewalk from the driveway to the front porch. One of the first things I like students to do is to imagine themselves walking up to the house and walking through the front door. So to do this, here is a front private sidewalk that leads you to the front porch. On the front porch, we can clearly see this is the entry door to get you into the house. Once you step in, you're considered in the entry part. Looking straight ahead, we can see into the living room. It's an open floor plan from the living room into the dining room. Looking directly to our right, we can see a door, a coat closet behind that. Looking to the left, we can see a short hallway that intersects with another hallway leading to bedroom 2, bathroom, and bedroom 3. In the entry, we can also see a doorway that leads to a staircase that goes down to the lower level basement. Coming back to the entry and entering into the living and dining area, into this open space, we can see it defined by a fireplace here on the top left-hand corner. Looking to the right, opposite of that, we can see the kitchen area. It's an L-shaped kitchen cabinet with countertops. Included in this, we can see the kitchen sink, the DW for dishwasher, the range, and the refrigerator. Continuing on through the utility room, where the washer and dryer is located, we make our way to the garage. This would be considered an attached garage. Special to this plan is a pull-down attic staircase to get up into the attic, as well as a freezer in the back corner. The overhead door for the garage is located here. Back into the house, if we make our way back through the dining area, we can see a sliding glass door that leads out to the deck. Turning right through this doorway, we enter what we call a vestibule, just a small area before heading into the master bedroom or the walk-in closet. Through the master bedroom, we can see the master bath with the sink, the toilet, and the tub. Now that we have a general idea of the layout of the home, now we can take a closer look at some of the details of this plan. Starting in the lower left corner, we can see the scale of the main floor as 1/4 inch equals 1 foot 0 inch. So every 1/4 inch on the plan is equal to 1 foot in real life. If we zoom into this front corner here, we can first start off by noticing that we have 2 parallel dark lines that represent the exterior walls of the home. In between these 2 dark lines, we can see this figure 8 looking hatching, and this hatching represents insulation. Going towards the back of the house from the front corner, our first stop here is the electrical meter location, and this is where the electricity for the house comes in from the utility company. Going further back, we can see an intersecting wall here at bedroom 3 to represent where the closet starts. On the back side of the closet, we can see another intersecting wall. This time we're going to have the studs lay flat to create additional room in the closet. Going back even further, we see the first window. This window symbol shown here is for a casement window. The casement window has a width of 32 and 13/16 inches and a height of 40 and 7/8 inches. RO. The RO again standing for rough opening, the size of the hole that the framers make to accommodate the window. Moving towards the back of the house, we can see dimensions on the outside of the house that designate the dimension for interior walls like this partition wall. We can also see the notation for the bedroom. Something unique to this particular house is the niche or niche above the stairs. We'll see more about this in the section view. Going around the back of the house, we can see another window. In this case, it changes to what we call a single hung, the SH, which means that the top sash is fixed and the bottom sash is movable. The RO, again, is 40 by 60. Additionally, it's an egress window, which allows occupants to escape in emergency, such as a fire. Continuing across the back, we can see this black arrow, which we talked about with the foundation plane, that represents that cutting plane for the section view. We can see a large window in the living room adjacent to what is a sliding glass door, the SLGL, here, that opens up to the deck. Off the deck, we can see stairs that lead down to the backyard. Details listed for the living room include a flush 1 foot 0 inch CT hearth, CT standing for ceramic tile. Hearth is the area in front of the fireplace. It notes here we have a arched header, which we'll see more detail on the interior elevations. We see this line that has CPT and VIN distinguishes between vinyl flooring on this side and carpet CPT on this side. The ceiling is somewhat different in the living room and dining room. As opposed to being flat, it has a vaulted ceiling. And here we see what's called a center line, the CL. That center line references the top or the peak of the vaulted ceiling below. The vaulted ceiling comes up from the back wall, centered here at the peak of the vault, and then back down. We see it end right along this dash line here. It's kind of confusing, but this dash line represents where the ceiling then comes down from the vault, flattens out to a flat ceiling in the kitchen. This line would continue, if not being a solid line, representing where the split is between the carpet in the living room and the CT or ceramic tile in the entry. Making our way into the kitchen, as noted before, we can see the refrigerator, the stove, microwave above, dishwasher below, and of course a sink with the disposal. We will come back to this symbol here as we get into the interior elevations. But what this represents is letter D shows this, the pointed end of this symbol shows letter D as the direction of this interior elevation. This letter B looks this direction, and A looks towards the sink. Into the utility room, again, we can see the dryer and the wash machine. We can see that there are 2 shelves above the dryer. We've got a casement window. It's a new window for us here. A casement is a crank-out window. The HB, as we saw before in the foundation plan, is a hose bib. And then we have a note here for a vent hood that comes out of the wall. Makes sense above the stove to exhaust those fumes out to the outside. Working our way across the garage, we can see a garage door of 16 feet width and 7 foot of height. The DS is our downspout, an associated splash block that takes the water off the roof into the gutters, down the downspout, and then outside onto the ground. Working our way around the back corner here, we can see another casement window. And you'll notice that the thickness of the exterior garage walls are not as thick as the exterior walls of the house. These would be a 2x4 construction, and this would be a 2x6 construction. Right outside of the master bath, we can see a COND unit. That's our air conditioning compressor unit, sits out here. Finally, coming around to the back deck, we can again see the steps coming down to the backyard. We can see that there will be a 4-foot 4-inch by 4-foot 0-inch concrete pad at the base of those steps. The last detail I'll talk about is actually at the front porch. On the front porch, we can see some different notation for the two windows. The 28-inch by 60-inch rough opening for single hung has what's called tempered glass. Tempered glass means if this glass were to break, it would break into small cubes of glass. Moving on to the roof plan, we can see the general outline of the building. We can also see the different slopes of the roof. For example, in the front of the building here, we can see that we have a slope of an 8:12 ratio, meaning for every 8 inches or 8 feet of rise, we have 12 inches or 12 feet of run. The units are indifferent. It's really the ratio between the rise versus the run. Noting here on the main roof line, we can see a rise of 6 compared to a run of 12. The lower the rise in relationship to the run, the shallower or less steep the roof is. It's noted that the two front gables, so the triangular shaped pieces that face the front of the house, are 8:12, and the main roof that is left to right is 6:12, same above the garage and same above the master bedroom in the back. Additionally, we can see the outline of the gutter system, and the squares here represent the downspouts to take the water away. Lastly, we can see the location of the fireplace flue. Now here's something interesting, and we'll see this again on the interior elevations. At some point during the drawings, the fireplace moved from this location here to what you might remember in the corner of the living room. The floor plans were updated, but neither the roof plan nor the interior elevations were changed. This is quite common with a lot of plans, especially in the residential world. Turning next to the elevations page, we can begin to see what the house looks like from 4 different sides. Starting on the bottom left corner, we can see the east elevation. In this view, this is what it would look like from the street. We can see the orientation of the garage on the right, of course the house to the left. To the right of that, on the south view, we can see the end of the house where bedrooms 2 and 3 are at. You can also note the back deck as drawn to the left on that drawing, with the stairs that come down to the backyard. Beyond that would be the master bedroom. Opposite of that, to the north elevation, first thing we see is the side of the garage with the window centered. Behind the garage, we can see the window for the master bath, and to the left of the garage, we can see the hood vent for the kitchen. Lastly, on the west view, we can see the back of the house. Quite clearly, we can see how the dirt drops off from the front down to the back. The change in elevation of the dirt affects how the siding is applied around the house. You'll notice on the lower level, underneath the master bedroom, the siding steps its way down to the dirt level. Additional details on the elevation page show the materials used on the exterior finishes. The elevations page also shows details of materials. Looking at the east elevation, there's quite a few materials called out. The window boxes underneath the front 2 windows, the vinyl shutters, the vinyl windows themselves, the brick veneer, and the molded millwork, shown as a radius above the 2 windows. Of course, the dryer vent and garage door with lights, and lights refers to the actual windows within the door. The dashed line below the house shows a concrete footing. It shows that it's 42 inches minimum below the grade. That is to protect it from frost. If it does freeze, it would cause problems with the house rising and falling throughout the seasons. On the west side, we can see the call out for vinyl siding. On the north, we can see what they call an eyebrow roof above where the hood vent will be. It also shows a timberline weatherwood shingles. On the south, we can see details for the treated wood decking and the continuous ridge vent for ventilation of the roof. Lastly, we can see the location for electrical, gas, and water meters. The section plan shows details of how the building is actually built. As noted in the earlier plans, both on the foundation and the main floor, we saw symbols where the cutting plane would occur. As stated, the cutting plane for this section goes right down the center of the staircase, leading from the main level to the basement. It is here we can see details of the stairs themselves that include the height of the risers, the length of the treads, the height of the handrail, and the headroom available as you walk down the stairs. Starting at the bottom of the page, we will work our way up to the top. First, we see details of the footing and the foundation wall. We can see the insulation used on the inside of the foundation wall. We can see that the foundation wall is an 8-inch wide, cast in place, that's CIP, concrete wall with reinforcement per code. And the reinforcement refers to the rebar or the structural steel components within the concrete pour of the foundation wall. On the outside, we can see there's gravel and waterproofing as required for drainage. And above that would be the final grade, the slope away from the building. To the left of that, we can note the 18-inch diameter pier footing for the deck above. Again, that is cast in place concrete. Moving to the right, we can see the details for the 4-inch concrete slab that has welded wire fabric, the WWF, which is a type of structural steel that is over 6 mil is the thickness of vapor barrier over clean compact fill, which is your gravel base. Moving to the right, we can see additional footings and foundation walls, and note that the footing height changed from back to front. As we get closer to the front, we're deeper into the soil, so therefore our footing can be higher, but not higher than the level of the basement floor. On either side of the footing, we can see the drainage tile that goes around the exterior and interior of the footing. We can additionally see footing to the right of that supports the front porch. As we trace that foundation wall that supports the porch up to the top of the porch, we can see dimensions or the thickness of the concrete porch. Above that, we can see notation of the brick veneer, the type of coursing it will have, details of the vinyl window with low E insulated glass. Low E is a coating that is applied to the outside of the glass to reflect some of the solar heat gain. The insulated glass means there's 2 panes of glass, outside and inside, with a gas that is in between the 2 panes to help with the insulation. Above that, we can see a perforated aluminum soffit. Now we get into the roof system. We can see the attic and the triangular shape of that roof with a large amount of insulation in the attic. The dashed line referring to the ceiling beyond is in reference to the scissor truss in the vaulted ceiling above the dining and living rooms. We can see that the scissor truss has a 412 slope underneath, and of course, as we saw in the roof plan, there's a 612 slope for the main roof. Looking at the details of the roof shingles, They are over 15-pound felt, which is an underlayment, that's on top of half-inch OSB, oriented strand board sheathing, which is over pre-engineered wood roof trusses with a 12-inch energy heel. Continuing our way around, we can see it's noted to provide an R38 rigid batt or blown insulation for all conditioned areas. You also must provide vent spacers as required to ventilate the attic. On the roof overhang, we can see flashing that is over the 6-inch pre-finished aluminum fascia cover, which is over a 2x6 subfascia with 6-inch Type K gutters and perforated aluminum soffits. Moving down the wall, we can see vinyl siding over house wrap that is over 7/16 inch thick OSB using 2x6 wood studs with an R19 batt insulation in between the stud cavities. On the inside of the wall, we can see half-inch gyp board, GYP, which is gypsum board, over 6mm plastic, which is a vapor barrier, on top of the 2x6 exterior walls. TYP meaning typical. The ceiling right above that shows 5/8 inch gyp board. Lastly, we can see the connection of the deck outside and how it connects to the floor system inside the house. The last page of the plan that we will study is the interior elevations. The interior elevations are merely pictures of what the interior spaces will look like from different vantage points within the plan. As shown here in letter A, we can see the kitchen sink that has a 33-inch sink base cabinet, flanked on the left with a 15-inch 4-drawer cabinet, and to the right is a corner Lazy Susan. Letter B shows the view 90 degrees from letter A to include the microwave and hood, the stove, the other side of the Lazy Susan, as well as a dishwasher and other 27-inch base. We can also see upper cabinets surrounding the microwave and hood. Letter C shows the other side of the sink base as if we're standing in the dining room looking back at the kitchen. Letter E shows the details of the fireplace. We can see the brand is a Heatilator. We can see that there's wood trim surrounding the fireplace with decorative wood cap and crown molding. We can also see the archway in the niche above the fireplace. Letter F shows us the bathroom with the toilet and the sink base with drawers, the mirror beyond. Same thing here in letter G, the other bathroom cabinet. Finishing up the construction documents are the Creek residence building specifications. In the specifications, we find the details of exact materials used on this project. For example, in the footings, foundation, and flatwork, it specifies poured-in-place brick texture for the 8-inch concrete walls, placed upon 8x16-inch spread footings per plans and specifications. Looking below that, we can see the framing lumber calls out for 14-inch TJIs, which are an engineered floor joist, 16 inches on center, with 3/4-inch tongue and groove underlayment or OSB on top. As you scroll through the rest of the document, you can see exterior finish system, gutter system, windows, exterior doors, insulation, gypsum board, interior doors trim, cabinet, the HVAC, the heating, air conditioning, and ventilation, fireplace, plumbing, and lastly, electrical, floor coverings, and building allowances. The specifications serve as a place to find the details of the materials as stated earlier. It's very important to review the specifications for differences or additional information.